TLC committee. Marcia still calls it commission. But the name is not as important.
It sounded more important.
But the name is not important. I think the work that's going to come from the team is really what drives us. So we then created a schedule and said, okay, how often are we going to meet? When are we going to meet? How is this going to affect the CSA? We talked about, like I said, times after work, after hours. We talked about lunch times. We talked about right after admin, right after staff meeting. So I think that we realized that we really need to be flexible in regards to when we meet. There's not going to be a very sort of set date right now. Even though we have one, we acknowledge that might change very quickly. So we're meeting every 2 weeks, so twice a month, right after staff meetings. And we want to make decisions as a group versus anyone in particular. So we decided that we needed to make a mission statement. So we gave it a shot. Everyone was tasked to come back with a mission statement of their own and share it as a group, which was interesting because everyone sort of had a different understanding of what we stood for and what we wanted to do. But it was nice to see that we were able to integrate everyone's ideas and suggestions into one mission statement. I don't have it with us now, but so the next step was, well, we need to create some structure in this because right now it's just a group. So we decided to create a sort of a role position. So Fernando is our president. I will be the vice president, and Anastasia, who's not here today, is our secretary. And we actually made a suggestion that the positions and roles change every month or every 3 months, so that everyone got an opportunity to step up and do some work, sort of in a vice president or president or secretary role. And those things, again, we understand that may change. We were sort of, and I had a lot of questions for Ed via email because we were sort of starting the foundation for this group and committee really from start, from scratch. So, so we did that. We met again. We actually then met this past Monday, which again was some issues with not being able to be right after staff meeting on Friday, and we actually facilitated a meeting. And what we did was use what we know best, which is sort of a CPT format. Sticking to what we knew, we actually then looked at the domains that Ed had provided for us, and we selected the ones we wanted to prioritize. We picked 3. We struggled because everyone had a voice in it and said, well, I think number 1 is more important, number 3 is more important. But we, again, as a group, decided that we were going to create 2 goals. We then created objectives. We then created measurement strategies. And this is going to be all presented back to our administrative team for action. I think when we talked about the steps and tasks that we were going to create, we decided that we wanted it to be as a team, rather than Fernando, you go take care of this, Omar's going to take care of that. Why was that important to us? Because again, we wanted to make it seem like, or really come from a team effort, that not one person partaking in that team. So for example, our next meeting is coming up in 2 weeks. We're going to actually, everyone's going to bring back an assessment or questions or suggestions they would want for us to include in an assessment for everyone that comes into our CSA to work with us. So everyone is tasked to do that, and then we're going to move forward with another step. So this is sort of very early on, and I just wanted to be, and Ed had requested us to talk a little bit about what we're doing to start that up and really open it up to the entire group to see what suggestions, what ideas we might have in respect to what we're starting to do.
What were the 2 goals that you came up with?
So I think considering domains, I think
we got 2 domains. We started working on domain 1 and 3. One of them had to do with assessment.
Right. The first one was organization and assessments.
Right.
And then the third one, which is on this list, is curriculum training.
Curriculum
And training.
Which is the third one.
One big piece that we talked about though is that we're not just focusing, and I wasn't a part of these earlier meetings, so probably wasn't. We talked about not wanting to just focus on cultural competency or steps towards that with the clients that we serve, rather than our the freezing cold winters we have in Springfield, and how do we let them know what the schools here might be like compared to where they're coming from, so that there's a greater ability to have an informed understanding of the culture or subculture that they're about to come into. That was a very important piece for us, and so we talked a lot about retired folks from the Midwest who've done very different worldviews and experiences, and so that I just wanted to add is a lens that we're trying to look at.
The idea is that it sort of becomes, we get better at the job, as you said earlier, where sometimes our own, we used to work in our own culture or beliefs might get in the way of seeing something not intentionally but unconsciously, and the idea that we sort of talk about our own culture and how that might affect working with the family. So I might just say it's really important for us to really talk about the changes. For a lot of Helen was, we looked at Puerto Rico about a year ago now. I moved like 3 years ago, so there's still a lot of changes because there's a subculture too in the Latino community we're working with. So just because I come from Puerto Rico does not mean whatsoever that I know it all and know it's understand. I understand that I know some of it, but I still have to learn because I have to be open to learning from the families as well. And so I need to learn the tools to remind myself all the time and to make it a topic that we can get stronger at that, even though we are the specialty.
Let's say, well, kind of what I'm struck by too is thinking about not just for this particular team, but all of us were graciously invited here because we're part of the STAY grant, and that's looking at the culture of this specific population of these young adults. And I think in my time of now looking at the culture of the young adults has tuned my mind and like more better in general, like about all different types of culture. And I'm just wondering kind of, are you guys using that group as a format to really look at youth kind of culture and like look at age kind of also as a part of that exploration?
Sure, I know that we're learning a lot from our youth advisory group, and that's something that we like to take because it has really impacted sort of how we look at our ICP and how we present things to youth, how we explain our roles. Right now in our committee, we're starting, it's sort of like baby steps. We selected our goals and one of the domains that we specifically wanted to focus on our agency right now. Down the road, I think one of the other domains that was one that everyone sort of was questioning that potentially would be ready to go immediately was partnering with communities. And again, looking at down the road, we would like to see this community grow to the point where we're going to have family representatives and potentially other providers and the community represented as well. But right now, our domains are focused just solely on our CSA, integrating some assessment tools for our staff to measure that, and actually creating some additional curriculums as part. I know we don't have much time for trainings, and like your name, Natalie, you were mentioning this. They were saying there's more trainings that potentially are coming, or that are mandated. We want to sort of integrate some cultural pieces of that, that curriculum as well.
There's a lot more we want to do, obviously. We want to make sure that we have a stronghold in what we're doing so we can really grow and do, address all the things. So baby steps, we're changing diapers right now. Literally starting. But it's exciting. It's a lot of work to it. But, it is exciting to realize, to look at it from everybody's perspective that's there. To say, wow, it takes a lot of work to put it together. So I'm excited to.
It truly helps to have a team. Because we bounce off each other. Brando will be available to make that email. I'll be able to contact someone, or Anastasia, who's excellent at putting words together and sentences and grammar. She can. If there's things, yes. If there's things that we need to do, we can share the responsibility versus, for example, myself taking this on and doing it alone. So it really helps to create a team around it, including those that potentially are really enthusiastic about this culture.